Second. All right, and I think today's subject is meditation, Rose, is that correct? All right, so we're going to make some departures, and we're going to backtrack a little bit and talk for the benefit of those who are not formally involved in any kind of meditational practices. We'll give some kind of ideal and overview of what meditation is all about, and so forth and so on. And remember, if you have questions, please feel free to put those questions forward. Yes, that'd be nice. Sandra, give me some coffee. She knows it takes a lot to wake me up. Thank you, sister. All right. Now, obviously, there's been so much talk about meditation. In fact, meditation has become very, very popular in our culture. This is a phenomenon that has only been true for perhaps no more than the last 80, 90 years. Certainly, before the visit of Bhagwan to the West at the Parliament that was held here in Chicago in 1893, there was hardly any interest in America and Western culture in general regarding meditation, yoga, and things of that nature. After they encountered Bhagwan at this Parliament in 1893, we found then a tremendous wave of interest in meditation and yoga as alternatives to the traditional approaches that we in the West have followed for our spiritual elevation, which are vis-a-vis subscribing to a belief system with whatever deity is associated with that, and then making prayers and worshiping that particular deity. In the West, that has been our dominant, and to date, it is still the predominant means by which we pursue spiritual development. It is through prayer and worship. However, with the rise of interest in meditation, now today we hear more and more people talking about they meditate. But very often they're just saying they meditate. Actually, what they're doing is pretty much the same old stuff that they've been doing for centuries, which is fundamentally invoking and praying to their concept of a deity. And they consider that to be meditation simply because they may take a particular asana or posture while they're praying, whereas before they prayed on their knees. Now they sit in a lotus posture and pray at home, and in this way think that they are practicing meditation. Thank you, sister. All right, I'll let it move on. Thank you so much. So we have then, over the years, developed a lot of misunderstanding as to what constitutes authentic meditation. But before we go into a long discussion on meditation, and I am prepared today to take my time with the subject for your benefit, Rose. I know that you come so often and diligently, and I want to make sure that your travels all the way across town are not in vain. And I know that next week my plans is to finalize the few remarks I have left to make on the deep wisdom that was the focus of this course. So I will try today to give you some guidance, some understanding of this meditation. Let us begin at the beginning. The first thing to understand is what meditation is not. Okay? Because as already indicated, we have confused meditation with a lot of things. Meditation is not prayer. Meditation is not worship. Meditation very often has no religious overtones whatsoever. Meditation is more like science than it is like anything. One of the primary objectives of meditation is to clean up our minds. By cleaning up the mind, I simply mean to train the mind. We find that for everything that we wish to attain in life, we will have to use this mind. It is this mind of ours that informs and directs our speech, that informs and directs our body. It is our mind that shapes and flavors the way we interact with other people and with our environment, etc. So the whole thing that we call living is really done out of the state of mind that we are in. And very often the state of mind that we are in is chaotic, hence the chaos of our life. The aim and objectives of meditation then is to train the mind in such a way that it can become a more useful tool in this thing called living. And we have to therefore bring certain different attitudes toward meditation than we normally would think are necessary. One of the first attitudes we have to develop is why you even need meditation. Have you ever thought about it? What is in you that makes you want to meditate? What is the goal behind the meditation? To examine yourself and see what is it that you're after. So this is not a rhetorical question. It's a question that I expect you to answer, my dear. So what do you expect to get from meditation? What is your ideal of what the benefits of meditation are?
Well, what I expect to get is, I guess because I'm the way I understand and believe that God is within, that I want God to speak to me instead of it coming from the outside.
Outside source. So meditation, yes, then meditation is seen as a direct link to God. I see. And that is what you want to get out of your meditation.
Yes.
I see. All right. Keep that in mind. At some point, we'll come back to that. I don't know whether we'll do it today, but I'm sure we will have occasion to interact with it now. Because you will begin to see an evolution of this original motive for meditation. So, as I said before, one of the things that we do with respect to meditation is very often we approach it with the wrong attitude. We approach it as an experiment. Meditation is not an experiment. What we usually find is that we are simply moving from one system to the next system, trying to find this contact with God, as Rose put it so well. And fundamentally, that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to find some contact with this inner source within ourselves that confers upon us a permanent, everlasting state called happiness. Essentially, that's what we're doing. Whether you call it God or Allah or this or that, it's meaningless. These are just words. The fundamental drive behind the behavior that has been defined as spiritual and religious is to somehow find something within ourselves that enables us now to become totally isolated and not dependent upon the world at all. Is that pretty much right? Something that allows us to survive within the little walls that we have built up around ourselves. Something that allows us to avoid all relationships where those relationships are based on our needs. Pretty much the case. Very often you will find that this very process is shattered in meditation. So very often then we approach meditation as a means of escape. And meditation is not a means of escape. And when we discover that, very often we lose our interest in our meditation. So it's very important that we review from the onset what expectations we have built up around meditation, because those expectations, to the extent that they are unrealistic or incompatible with the actual science and goal of meditation, to that extent that they are out of harmony with that truth, then to that same extent we will find our energies and efforts in meditation very, very short. It has been my observation over the years that most people come toward a meditational practice full of all of these misconceived notions, and they last about 3 or 4 months at the most. Soon they find that this is not what they were looking for, and then they opt to something else. It's usually another form of meditation, or another religious system, or another book, or another teacher, etc., etc., etc. So I would like to try to approach this in such a way that you bring maximum intelligence to it. Meditation, as I've said thus far, is a means by which we are able to train this mind of ours to remove from it all of our confusion. Most of us pursue meditations and gurus, for that matter, religions and preachers, teachers of all sorts, fundamentally because we are confused. And we're looking for ways out of our confusion. And so we're going to have to today look at a lot of things. So far, am I clear on this thing? All right. Now, in meditation in the sense that I am going to be discussing it, in addition to the attitude that we have toward the meditation, the most important aspect of meditation is not the technology, the technique, the methodology, the mechanics. It is the teaching. So the first thing then that we have to consider when we are in pursuit of a meditational practice is the teacher of that meditational practice. The guru, the master, the yogi, the roshi, whatever name you wish to give to that person. Because if you don't have right relationship with the master, then you will not make any progress in meditation. And this is a very great misconception most people have. They think that, well, I can just go directly to the science and the methodology of meditation, and that the teacher or the master of that system is incidental. In many instances, not even necessary. And that is where we usually make the very first mistake. You can make no progress, no yoga, no meditation system without having the proper relationship to the guru or the teachers of that system. Now, we should open that up for some discussion because we have to be very clear from the outset on this. Again, our minds are such that we are trying to cut out the middleman, so to speak. That's about right. And so we usually don't really pause and consider that. And why do I say that? Because in order to really develop proficiency in meditation, you will have to follow the instruction of some teacher of that system. Is that right? But if you don't have right relationship to the teacher of that system, you're not going to follow that teacher's instructions. And hence, you're not going to really make any progress. What you will do, you will edit the teachings as it relates to that particular meditation system. And you will start putting together your own hodgepodge of what you think meditation should be. You will deviate. You see my point? So you have to begin from the very beginning. And the practice of meditation and yoga, spiritual practices, the starting point is developing the correct relationship to the guru, to the master, to the teacher of that system. If that is not correct, if that is out of whack, then there is nothing coming out of that at all. And you can buy mantras and books and repeat Om until you are dead, and you will not attain anything at all. So I know that this is a startling revelation for those of us in the West, but it's something that we have to discuss. But even now, before we even get too much further into that, I want you to understand that there is no real distinction between meditation and what they call guru yoga. That is following the instructions of a guru. There is no difference. All of these meditation practices and systems that you will find on the planet was given by some teacher. Please make a note of that. It was Buddha who created the 84,000 different techniques of meditation that constitute Buddhism. You see, it was the avatars of Hinduism, Krishna, Rama, Vishnu, so forth and so on, that created all of the yogas and the paths associated with that particular religion. You see, and the same is the case in Islam and Christianity and Judaism and so forth and so on. So all of these things, all of these paths, all of these ways, all of these traditions, all of these yogas were created by men and women out of the contents of their own experience. You follow me? Okay, it was not something that a group of people got together and democratically created. It did not work like that. So the first thing that we got to look at, amongst many other first things, everything is first thing with me, right? Is that you got to look at the need for a guru. Now, how many of us really feel an authentic need for a guru? I have to be clear. No sense in it. Is that right? You know, either you need a guru to give you some technique of meditation in order to further aid you in your own search for God or whatever you want to call it, or you don't need a guru. It's as simple as that. And this is the first thing that you have to get clarity on. Now, do one really, really feel a need for a guru? And what is a guru? We might as well start at the bottom of this whole thing. Because when we talk about meditation, we're going to be talking about gurus and masters and this and that. So we might as well get all this straight from the beginning. You agree, Sandra? Right? What is guru? And why is guru necessary? Or is guru necessary? What is that? It's not a rhetorical question. I expect some answers.
Yes, a guru is necessary.
You find that a guru is necessary. Why, brother, do you find the guru necessary?
Guru is a teacher, and the teacher is necessary in order to learn.
All right, I think you pretty much have summed up the wisdom of so many people as it relates to a guru. That a teacher is necessary to learn. But do you really believe that? We say that, but do you really believe that?
I do. Because if you don't know, then how do you expect to learn if you don't have a teacher? So,
Well, I'm following your line of reasoning. I'm following your line of reasoning. What I'm saying is that has to become more than just a logical conclusion. It has to become a felt experience. Now, the truth of the matter is this, that most of us, underneath that logic, really don't feel the need for it. Not really. Not deep down.